here's a little trick that I learned to help me deal with challenges that I've dealt with, with my pop. So over my left hand, I think about that night. I think about afterwards having to drink in shore. I think about having my mouth wired. I think about having to go to school and tell people that my pop punched me in my jaw. I think about his face and when I was in the hospital and they had me on morphine and the police begging for me to press charges and put him in jail.
Wow.
And begging my mom, let's put him in jail. Let's just toss him away. And I remember my father. This is like the first time that he actually said, I love you. The first time. My pop was old school. So I flick these lights on. That shows you I love you. You see the clothes on your back? That shows I love you. You're eating, right? You ain't starving. I don't have to
tell you because
that shows that I love you.
You feel it. It is everything.
Yeah. So that was the first time that I felt his bushy beard on my forehead because the cops only let him see me one time. And he leaned down and he gave me a kiss and he says, I love you on my forehead. Wow. First time. And that was a dark moment. And I hold that dark moment right here. Hold it right here. And then over here, oh man, I remember going to creeks, finding my first musk turtle with my dad. I remember finding crawfish with my dad. I remember going to Clementon Park with my dad. I remember going on bike rides. I had a Huffy bike, a blue Huffy bike, and I had ran into all these little dividers and I hit my head and hit the ground and I crashed and he came over and he picked me up and he dusted me off and he had a Cordova car, an orange Cordova. Afterwards, he took me to get ice cream. And I remember he and I eating ice cream at the ice cream parlor and we're just sitting by the car eating ice cream. And I remember this. And I tell you, my new practice is when I'm feeling those dark moments, I hold those beautiful, joyful moments in my right hand and I just smash it. And I just rub my hands together, man. And all the pain, all the frustration, all the anger, all that stuff just begins to dissipate. It doesn't hold the same weight anymore. And I begin to forgive even more and more. I think about my son, and I'm no longer trapped in that negative, dark place. And that's a little practice that I do often. Think about the beautiful things and just dilute all the darkness. And that's what I do. So I offer that to you as well, in life, those dark moments, dilute it with those.
Yeah. I also know through this work that for most men, the toughest one to forgive, the self, and maybe that's a little bit of a part of why we hold on to those stories because sometimes it's easier to forgive others, even who have hurt us, than it is to forgive ourselves. And what kind of offering do you have for folks who are listening, for folks who hear your story, Aaron, and Bric, for folks who are seeing not only this short film, but all of the work that we have put out, that you have put out through sharing men's stories within Sacred Sons? What are some pieces around that pillar of forgiveness?
Recently, I've come to the realization that one of the main reasons that I do men's work and that I'm in Sacred Sons is to forgive myself and to work to become the man that I'm meant to be and to make all those who I've wronged proud of me too. And I know they've moved on with their lives and, everybody's married or has kids these days and is on their own pathway. But really, it's not to make them proud, but to make myself proud of who I'm becoming. And that's just by taking one step in front of the other in a path that has nothing to do with hurting others or hurting myself, whether that's, physically or mind games or with drugs. We're so fragile in this life. I've lost so many friends and family members to violence and drugs and drama within my family. And I'm still working on being a better person every day and still working to forgive those who I have not forgotten yet. And I'm still on that path. But I know that I'm many steps forward than I once was a couple years ago.
The best gift we can give anyone is for each of us to do our inner work, for each of us to show up in our fullness, in our presence, in our grace, and then also to be able to ask for help. I mean, it's a both and, but to be able to take care of oneself, to clean up one's fire. There's a such thing as like going into the fire, but we also got to tend to it. We started this conversation in the fire, so I'll just speak to that a little bit. Like fire, it takes fuel, it takes oxygen, and that takes care. And so for us to keep our fires lit, to keep it fueled, to keep it clean and tended to so that it doesn't get out of control, so that it doesn't burn others.